graphic demonstrates, it's almost a little bit like a hammock that is connected to the abdominal, the core anatomy, the core musculature. It rests at the very bottom of the pelvis. And it's responsible for not only organ support, but incontinence, both urinary and fecal, childbirth, as you know, postpartum moms know, sexual function, pelvic stability, lumbar stability, which is back stability, breathing, which is diaphragmatic. So it gives you a sense of the whole core cylinder, the musculature from the upper to the lower part of your core cylinder. It's connected to all of those muscles. So you don't realize it, but a healthy functioning pelvic floor plays a big part in all of those other elements. This is a great graphic to give you an idea of a toned pelvic floor if you visualize the hammock, and a droopy pelvic floor. And we tend to, as we get older, after childbirth, different hormonal changes in our body, it's quite common to have for lack of a better word, a droopy pelvic floor. That means a little bit more elasticity, a little bit more flexibility that allows it to droop, and that affects all of the other functions that we just went through. So if you think of it as any intra-abdominal pressure, imagine that ball as your pelvic organs, and it's resting on the hammock of muscles of the pelvic floor. So today what we're going to do is start out with the basic Kegel exercise. And the Kegel is a very basic neuromuscular controlled movement. It's very internal, and it will help to connect with your breathing and the core musculature. So our first position we're going to practice is laying supine. So if you take a look at this graphic on the screen, we're going to lay down with our knees bent slightly apart, about hip width apart like that. We're going to very gently tense the pelvic floor. So again, visualize that hammock that lies from your pubic bone to your coccyx, and draw and create gentle tension as we pull up. And then we're going to squeeze, breathe, hold for about 5 seconds, and then release and soften and relax for about 5 seconds. We're going to repeat this 5 times just to see where we are. If you've been practicing this with me for the past few weeks, then you're going to jump right into it. If you're new to this work, then let's take our time and let's start to make those brain-body connections with that part of our body. Now, you can also do this seated if you're more comfortable in a seated position, or you can lay down. So grab your mat and lay down or sit comfortably. And I'll stay seated just so that I can better coach you. So find the position, either laying down with your knees bent or seated. If you're seated, take a moment to sit tall with your sitting bones resting evenly and comfortably, whether you're on your mat or perhaps sitting in a chair. Relax everything, whichever position you choose. I invite you to close your eyes. Take a moment to settle in and relax. Take a deep breath in your nose and fill the body. Relax everything so you can fill the body with breath. Exhale very gently through your mouth, but exhale completely. Now begin on your out breath to draw the muscles of your pelvic floor in and up. 5 seconds. When you inhale, soften and relax the muscles of the pelvic floor for about 5 seconds. So we're breathing in, we're breathing out. And if that feels uncomfortable, connecting the breath with the engagement of the pelvic floor, then don't worry about, you just breathe. Don't worry about synchronizing anything. Breathe comfortably, but allow your awareness, your attention to be on the movement, the subtle movement of the pelvic floor, drawing up, holding for 5 seconds, and then releasing and relaxing. I want you to think about the hammock of that visual hammock, drawing the hammock up, right up through your center, almost like an elevator draws up, and then releasing it and letting it all go, softening. Notice if you're squeezing your buttocks or if you're tensing any other part of your body as you draw your pelvic floor muscles in. And if you are, work a little less hard. The Kegel exercise done correctly is very specific to that muscle group. If you don't have a strong connection with your pelvic floor, which is very, very common, then you may work this harder by engaging and squeezing and gripping all of the abdominal muscles and buttocks. If that's happening, be aware of it, take a break, and then revisit. 5-second hold, and do it gently, do it softer. Practice makes perfect, so if you're struggling with this, it's perfectly normal, it's fine. If you've been practicing the Kegel exercise these past few weeks, then you'll probably kick right in and you'll probably find it's much easier. And that will happen as you practice. So go ahead, we're doing more than 5, but I want you to do a few more and really be comfortable with breathing and connecting. The Kegel exercise, first of all, can be done anywhere. When you practice this, no one should be able to tell what you're doing. That's how subtle the work is when it comes to training effectively your pelvic floor muscles. So go ahead and do one more. And then release. And if you're already laying down, straighten out your legs and just rest for a moment on your mat. If you're sitting in a chair, I want you to come right down to your mat and assume that position of knees bent, arms resting by your side, and just rest comfortably. After you take a little break to relax everything, bend your knees, relax, and now we're going to add movement to the Kegel exercise. So now we're going to begin to connect the muscles of the pelvic floor with tucking the tail. It's called a pelvic tilt. So on your out breath, the bottom of the pelvic draws in and up, and then you almost feel as though you're zipping up your pelvis up to the navel. Low back very gently imprints into the surface below you, and your tail tucks. Then we're going to soften, release everything. Take another breath and allow your tail now to tilt. So we synchronize the Kegel exercise with a gentle deep abdominal exercise with tucking and tilting the pelvis. So let's practice. As you exhale, you gently imprint your low back, but the Kegel then zips up deep core muscles, and it's about 5 seconds, and then we release, we breathe in, soften the belly, soften the pelvic floor, allow your low back to create space and your tail to tilt towards the floor. So the out breath starts at the pelvic floor, draws up the deep abdominals, And the in-breath begins to soften everything. Tail tilt, a little bit of space is created at the low back. Continue. Let's do a few more as you continue this movement. Again, close your eyes. Work inside. This type of training is more internal. So draw your awareness to your deep abdominals and your pelvic floor. Notice if you're tensing or squeezing the butt cheeks or creating any muscle contraction in the body other than the pelvic floor and the deep abdominal. And let's do two more. This really is about movement. It's really more about connecting on a neuromuscular level and a subtle movement of the pelvis. But when you start at the pelvic floor, you get a clearer connection to the deeper abdominals. And that's actually very effective for core training. And after you did just a few of those, go ahead and extend your legs out. We take a break in between to allow the body to just completely relax. Relax body, mind, and take a deep breath there. Now the next position we're going to move into is a bridge position. So I'm showing you a few photographs just to get you a sense, but I will also be performing them so you can see me on the screen. So come back to that same bent knee position. Now you have an option. If you've been with the series, I asked you to get either a rolled up towel or a reel like a deflated ball. This is just an option for you. It allows more of a tactical sensation. So if you don't have something handy, don't worry about it. But if you do, you can place that between your thighs, not between your knees. It's a little bit closer to the pubic bone between your thighs. That just allows you to get a better sensation when we invite the Kegel exercise in the bridge position. So either you have your prop between your thighs or not. You're in the same position either way. Inhale and allow the pelvis to tilt. Exhale and allow the pelvis to tuck. And do another one, just reconnecting with your pelvic floor and your deeper abdominal muscles. Then we're going to come to neutral. A neutral pelvis, a neutral spine should be somewhere in between the tuck and the tilt. It's where your body, your spine is most neutral, most comfortable. Squeeze very gently the ball or prop between your inner thighs, and if you don't have that, no worries, just engage ever so gently your inner thigh muscles. Press your feet, especially your inner feet, into the mat, into the floor. Draw your pelvic floor up, and now squeeze your butt and lift up into a bridge. When you get there, hold the position and then relax, but stay in the bridge. And now we're going to practice drawing up. So imagine from the center of your pelvic floor, those muscles are drawing up, a very gentle zip up or engagement of the deep abdominals, a strong engagement of the glute muscles, and then we relax everything. So on the out breath, pelvic floor, gentle abdominals, strong glute engagement. On the in breath, soften and relax. And do that one more time in the bridge. And then very gently lower back down to the floor, but maintain a neutral spine. Now we're going to move on the out breath. We draw the pelvic floor up, Maintain neutral, squeeze the butt and lift up into the bridge. And on the in-breath, we slowly lower back down, soften, and relax in a neutral spine position. So we exhale, draw up, feel that sensation of the prop between the legs. We're holding about 5 seconds, and then we release and we soften everything. Release, soften everything. Close your eyes again if you're comfortable and bring your awareness. I want you to do approximately 12 repetitions, and don't worry about counting, but I want you to just listen to my cues to help you go a little bit deeper. Again, we're not making this harder. We are clarifying the neuromuscular connection between the pelvic floor as we initiate the movement. So when you lower back down to neutral, soften the tissue, relax. You're not rolling your spine, you're maintaining a neutral spine. When you pick up your pelvis, your low back, your hips, everything lifts. Your glutes drive the hips up off the floor. Now, this is not a yoga bridge. This is more of a Pilates bridge. You're maintaining neutral. So again, let's not make it more than that. That's all that it is. And your connection, each repetition, see if you can find a clearer connection to your pelvic floor, to the control of your pelvic floor. And after you feel as though you've done about 10 or 12 of those, go ahead and remove the prop and rest on the floor. Extend your legs out nice and straight, shake them out, relax everything for a moment. Take a deep breath there. Okay, everyone, when you're ready, come on back to your screen, take a look. And here is a different diagram of your pelvic floor musculature. So I love this one because it gives you a sense you're looking down. You're looking from your upper body right down through the center of your body. So if you notice at the top of your screen, that's your spine. And all of these muscles, look at how the fibers are just kind of intertwined. So it's actually a little bit more than a hammock. It's a support. It's like a basket-like weaving that supports the bowl of your pelvis. So put that visual in your mind as we move into this next set of exercises. The focus is going to be drawing up. So imagine there's a string attached right to the middle of that musculature. And when I invite you to exhale, you're being pulled. You're pulling up that string right up through the center of your body. So you're engaging that circular structure of muscles together, synchronizing to pull up and then to release and to soften. So now, if you were with me last week, I asked for you to bring a ball of sock. Now, I do know that there's some new people, so I'm going to give you a minute. If you have something, some soft material that can be rolled up, so I have a pair of socks, athletic socks that are just rolled up together to form somewhat of a ball. You want it to be soft. If you happen to have nearby a small ball that is soft, then go ahead and grab that. If you have a foam roller, you can grab the foam roller, and then you don't need the little ball of sock. Now the reason, and again, if you don't have anything handy, then just follow along and practice. You'll be able to follow my cues and you will get some benefit. But this next set, so go ahead and grab what you need. We're going to come back to the mat. So this next set, we're going to move into a, believe it or not, a type of massage with breath work for the pelvic floor. So in addition to your pelvic floor being too elastic, too loose, too like heavy droopy, there's also a condition in the pelvic floor that it can be too tight and it doesn't have the mobility or the flexibility as it should for optimal function in the body. This addresses both of those, and it helps to prepare for the next set of Kegels and exercises that we're going to do. So the option is, if you have a roller, then you're going to take the soft foam roller and you're going to sit on it like you're riding a horse. You're just going to sit on it in that position. That's it. If you don't, then you're going to grab either your soft socks, rolled up sock ball. If you have long legs, you're going to want to elevate yourself on something. So I have a yoga block, or you can grab a thick book. And here is the position, just like the model in the photos are doing. You're going to place the ball or soft socks in the middle of like books or blocks or something that is going to be comfortable. And basically, we're going to sit on it. So go ahead, either your roller or your ball or whatever it is, and you're going to find a nice tall spine. You're sitting tall, you're placing that little ball right in the middle. So remember the graphic I showed you. You're right in the middle of that basket, that weaved basket of pelvic floor musculature. Sitting tall, relax. Now close your eyes and just get comfortable. Find a sense of evenness in your sitting bones, a nice long spine as you sit tall, and just simply breathe down into the ball, into the connection of your pelvic floor against the surface. So once you've settled in, you're breathing comfortably, I want you to make very, very slow shifts of your weight around the ball. That's all. You're going to move a little bit to the front and a little bit to the back. Be mindful of the tailbone. You don't want to put pressure on your tailbone. That's not necessary. Stay on the soft tissue. And we're 30 to 60 seconds is what's recommended for this. You're going to find different edges around the perineum. Allow the ball to snuggle in at different angles. Slow and easy breathing, just a few more seconds. And then come back to the center, relax, take a deep breath. Let it go. And then go ahead and remove your ball, your prop, your roller, and just sit comfortably. Find a seated position that is comfortable. Close your eyes. Now I want you to just breathe. Relax and breathe. Breathe in your nose. Breathe out your mouth. Now send the breath, breathe down to where the ball was. Allow the breath to drop lower without forcing it. You're seeking a balloon-like sensation in the pelvic floor with the tissue softening on the inhale. On the exhale, sense the soft tissue, your perineum, pelvic floor area, come up, back up into the body. And go ahead and do this about 7 or 8 times. Picture an elevator rising up. If you aren't feeling anything, it's perfectly okay. Keep on focusing, keep on practicing. As you practice this work, you'll create and develop new brain pathways, new channels of movement for the body to wake up the musculature. The goal is to retrain the area, giving your body back the control and the function. Okay, now what I want you to do after you finish that cycle that you're in, and if you take a look at the screen, we're going to move into a few more exercises, a little bit more movement. Now, this gives you a good sense of how the muscles are all connected, as I explained earlier. Your transverse abdominis, we often call that like the girdle, the corset muscle. It's a deep muscle that lies underneath the superficial or the rectus abdominis, which people refer to often as the six-pack ab muscle. This is the deeper. This is the musculature that is really more, especially postnatal, is more important to regain a connection of the muscles of the pelvic floor, the multifidus, those are some of the back muscles, and the diaphragm. So imagine that core cylinder, and now we're going to begin to add movement, recruiting the muscle. So go ahead and lay down on your back again with your knees bent. And now, without any props, I want you to inhale and give me a nice pelvic tilt. Exhale. Draw the abdominals in and tuck your pelvis. And now, as you perform this second set of repetitions, after doing that gentle pelvic floor massage, are you noticing a stronger connection in the pelvic floor? Is that neuromuscular patterning, are we creating that? Is it a little clearer? There's no right or wrong answer, just notice. Come to neutral. And on your next out breath, again, draw the pelvic floor muscles in and up and press up into a bridge. And then we release. So again, the same bridge position, the same bridge exercise, starting at the pelvic floor, maintaining a neutral spine, engaging the glutes, let the glutes join the party here, and notice, do 3 more, right? Just notice, again, a clearer connection. Is your pelvic floor firing up as it should now? And after you completed that set, I'm going to invite you now. We're going to do a cat camel, cat cow. This is a very popular yoga pose. And often, if you have any issues in your low back, this is a great exercise to do. At the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, it's flexion and extension of your spine. So we're going to bring all of that awareness together, starting at the pelvic floor. Come to a 4-post position, that's hands and knees. Hands are underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. So take a moment, go ahead and rest there. Take a moment to just feel the body on the mat. Just feel the connection and level it all out. Now we begin with spinal extension. The elbows are straight but soft. Inhale, let your belly drop. Your pelvic floor softens, your chest, belly drop between your arms and legs. You're looking forward, so the shoulders relax down and back. And we tilt the tail up behind us. Let your belly fill with breath. And when you exhale, start at the pelvic floor. Draw the pelvic floor muscles in first, then your deep abdominals engage, and we round all the way up into a scared cat, we call it. When you're empty of the breath, inhale, begin to soften everything, and come back into the spinal extension. So everything is soft here. Exhale, begin at the pelvic floor. Draw, give me that nice, clear Kegel engagement. Deep abdominal, round. Empty the breath completely. Then inhale, extend. Exhale. Inhale. Keep on going. Do 4 more of the cat camel. Think about, again, you're drawing from the pelvic floor. We initiate the movement and we round. And now we're connecting the deep work with movement of the body. So keep on going, but just listen and understand. As we strengthen our pelvic floor and we regain control, whether it's incontinence or whatever the concerns are, as we do that, we need to be able to recruit neuromuscularly that muscle group when we're out and about living our life. So your partner, you don't have to stop, to go to the bathroom if you're on a road trip quite so often, right? Postpartum, you're getting back control, sexual function, all of, back pain, pelvic pain, by regaining control and strength and tone of that muscle group, we need to have that available to us as we live our life, right? And move around. So this is a great way. We're adding movement now. And then after you finish that set, go ahead and take a gentle stretch back. Just release again. Soften everything. And we're going to do one more exercise, tying in the core work. Now, this exercise is a great stability core exercise. We're just going to add the layer of focusing on our pelvic floor as we maintain a neutral spine. So come back into a supine position that's laying down on your back with your knees bent, your arms are resting by your side. Just relax for a moment and let your body, let your pelvis settle into a neutral. If you take your fingertips to your pelvis, your ASIS, which we often perceive as our hip bones, those 2 bony points in the hips, put your fingertips there, your pinky finger there, and your thumbs up at the ribs. Take a breath in, maintaining neutral, relaxing everything else. And when you exhale, maintain neutral, but create a gentle bracing or stiffening of your core cylinder. Notice, hold that, breathe around that engagement. Notice below your thumbs and fingers that your muscle group, your core musculature is a little tight, is stiff, is firm, is braced. It's not a hard gripping, it's a stability focus. Now breathe, bring your awareness back to your pelvic floor. On your next out breath, I want you to draw the muscles of the pelvic floor up. So give me that Kegel a little clearer now. And we're going to very gently bring our right knee up. And then we're going to very gently bring our right foot back down to the floor. And then we're going to relax. Then we exhale, stiffen, gently brace your core, draw the pelvic floor muscles up, and bring your left leg up and your left leg down and relax. Practice, keep on going, practice this thing. Gentle bracing, pelvic floor. As we breathe out, we move the leg. Nothing else should be moving. So now we're training control in the pelvic floor, in the deep core muscles, in the spine. So this is core stability. Your core cylinder, number one function in the body is to stabilize. So this is a great exercise because there's lots of layers going on. You have to maintain neutral. You have to engage that while you're breathing and draw the pelvic floor. So we're making all of those connections. So go ahead and do a few more, and we're going to finish up with our last series of exercises and your homework. Breathing. Keep on breathing, everybody. The connection, it's amazing. There's a lot more research in this area in our industry of fitness and wellness that we're finding that a dysfunctional pelvic floor is responsible for low back pain, is responsible often for different types of pelvic pain or dysfunction. It's very common. There's also, I want to make it very clear that there is a complete line of physical therapy that will address this on a much deeper level. And there's also gynecologists that specialize in urology that will also, if you feel as though you have prolapse or something more serious than just, some incontinence or postpartum issues that your doctor says just strengthen the pelvic floor, then get checked out because if there's prolapse that needs medical attention, if there's something a little bit more serious going on, then there's a whole line of physical therapy that will address that. So don't be afraid. It's much more common than you realize. So when you're done with that, come on back up to a seated position, everyone. And now we're going to do a series of quick flicks. Now, quick flicks are great to do anytime. So remember, this is practice. So don't be afraid wherever you are. Try to practice regularly during the course of the day. Quick flicks are easy to do because they're basically that. You're going to contract and relax. Contract and relax the pelvic floor. So as quickly as you can, but with control. The hard part is to relax in between because you tend to want to hold the gripping. So let's practice that cycle 15 times, whatever position. Let's sit because it's easier to get that sensation in a seated tall position. If you're sitting, if you work at a desk or you help kids with schoolwork, sitting position, tall spine, posture matters. So when you take the break, all you're going to do is squeeze, release, squeeze, release. So go ahead, close your eyes, bring your awareness, again, that visual, that whole series of musculature, tendons, ligaments, fascial tissue, your pelvic floor draws up like an elevator to the center of your body and then drops and releases. Draws up, drops and releases. So create that sensation in your body. Notice, control, not gripping anywhere else, breathing comfortably. Yep. It's recommended 15 times is what is recommended. So go ahead and finish that set. My baby always pops up. Okay, so take a look at the screen. This is our homework, guys. Every day, do your very best to practice. First, practice the Kegel. 5 seconds, relax for 5 seconds. It's recommended to repeat that for 10 sets. So just think about that. The second exercise to be done regularly is quick flicks, just like what we did. Contract, release, contract, and try to do that a total of 25 times. If you can do each of those during the course of your day 2 to 3 times, that is awesome. I promise, if you remember to do it and leave yourself notes, I promise within a matter of weeks, you're going to start to see the benefit of this work. I promise you're going to have much more control. It's just practice. Do it when you're stopped at a traffic light, when you're sitting at your computer, when you're in the shower, when you're talking on the phone. Maybe when you go to bed or when you wake up before you get out of bed, you can think about practicing these. So create a schedule that works for you, but commit to practicing it, and all of those areas that the benefits of the function of the pelvic floor that we talked about earlier in the class, I promise you will see improvement in all of those. So lastly, before I end the class today, I want to introduce, these are just a few tips of that will help you. Imagine stopping the flow of urine, holding in wind, squeezing or holding in a tampon. Any of those visuals will kind of help you get that connection. And lastly, before I introduce our Pilates teacher, men have a pelvic floor too. Yep, they do. This is not only women's work. Men have it too. Obviously, their anatomy is different, but they also have a pelvic floor. Okay, so on the screen, Sadaf is one of our awesome Pilates trainers, and I invite each of you to take this training step a deeper level, the next step of core training, because Pilates method is amazing. I'm going to share, these are some photos with our reformer. We have a Pilates studio here at the JCC. Sadaf is one of our very popular Pilates trainers, and here she is demonstrating some of the work on the reformer. Pilates method, as you're probably all familiar with, is a very popular core conditioning method. It's very, very specific, very control and breath focused. These are just some of the exercises that she'll do with you. It's all very, well, we're very safe here at the JCC. God willing, we're trying to protect you. So having said that, Sadaf wants to invite you in for a free session. I'm going to turn it over to her, and if you have any questions, unmute yourself and ask Sadaf. So Sadaf, what do you have to say? Anything in particular?
Thank you, Susan. What a great class. And I wish like more people, like even if they are not pregnant, they use this class. Very like beneficial class. Like Pilates Reformer and Pilates both are really helpful for your strengthening your pelvis, your core. And it's very important for, I think it's for women and men equally, but for women, especially we give a birth. So I think it's very important. And all of my clients are see the changes in their body after a while, then since they started the Pilates Reformer. And I'd be happy to offer you a free session. If you like, I'm glad to have you.
So what we'll do, thank you, Sadaf. I'm telling you guys, you should try it. When you feel ready to come back to the JCC, then I'm going to email each of you a Sadaf's contact information, because it's as simple as just making an appointment with her. You'll work one-on-one, just like this client is working with her right now. You'll wear a face covering, and she will take you through consultation and some basic exercises on the reformer, so you can have the opportunity to experience the deep core work yourself. Really very popular type of training, and a wonderful complement to the core training. I did get a question from one of the participants about back. I got to tell you, all of the exercises that we did today are very, very effective for back strength and safety. And Pilates training definitely is going to give you back your strength through your spinal muscles and alignment. So, you know, in this pandemic, a lot of us are sitting at a computer much more often than we did before, right? Or maybe than we want to. And this is a wonderful alternative. So please consider it, but I will send you an email, and you can ask Sadaf on a private level any questions you might have. Any questions that you have about the pelvic floor conditioning, I'm very happy to work with. My email will be on the email that I send you out, and Kayla can certainly connect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I just want to thank you, Susan. This has been a phenomenal 4-week series. I want to remind everyone that all 4 sessions will be available on our YouTube channel. I linked in the chat box. I definitely encourage you to take up this offer to try out the Pilates. I took a class with Sadaf 2 weeks ago for TRX. She's fabulous. I did also try a free trial of the Pilates right before the pandemic hit, and I just haven't gotten back in there. And yes, if you're looking for anything, the fitness center here at the JCC has been fabulous, very safe. I actually got in there at lunchtime yesterday and got on a treadmill and did weights, and it's very impressive the way that they're functioning down there. So I highly encourage you to give it a shot. With that, I want to thank you all again on behalf of the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven, with PJ Library, Shalom Baby, the JCC of Greater New Haven, all of us here. Just thank you. We want to wish you a happy Purim, and check out our website. We've got a lot going on. You guys stay well. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. I appreciate it.